to myself. Let me see if it actually recorded, because sometimes I hit the wrong button. There you go. Okay, I'm recording. Okay, so my name again is Maddie. You can call my first name is Madison. You can call me Maddie. I graduated from VCU last year and in exercise science. So I do have a certification as a personal trainer, and I also have my nutrition specialist certification. So I am eligible to give out advice, not technically meal plans, but I can talk about nutrition with other people. And I do work at the Innsbruck location Monday through Friday from 10 to 6. So I'm here 8 hours a day. It's pretty long days, especially with it being super slow recently, but I'm excited for hopefully this middle of February stay-at-home order to end, so then you guys can start coming back. Get some more people in here. I miss seeing some people, but let's see. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, I've never done this before, so let's just try. I'm gonna try my best. So I'm gonna share. You guys should get a PowerPoint up on your screen. If you don't see it, just let me know, and then we can go from there. But I hope everyone sees it. So we're going to be talking about healthy eating for a happy heart, or just healthy meal strategies in general. Again, my name is Maddie, and I am here at the Innsbruck location. So let's go ahead and start. So when I work with my clients, I always tell them 2 steps. Okay, when you're starting out on any lifestyle change, if you want to make a big change with fitness, exercise, or life little techniques in general, be observant and start small. Ask yourself how often you eat out. Do you like sweets, or do you like salty foods? Do you like to cook? Do you not like to cook? Do you like meal prepping? Kind of ask yourself those questions and just be observant of your eating habits and your eating style, what you like, because honestly, no one likes boring food. So we all just want to eat, have a good time eating, but also eat healthy. And then the next step I would say is to start small. So when you're making a big lifestyle change, let's use New Year's as an example. People tend to make big jumps in their life, and by middle of February, people kind of start to drop that habit change because it was just too big of a jump. So when you're starting small, you get to last longer. So start small and add changes over time, and then it'll last a little bit longer. That habit will stick. So my example for everyone is always, if you eat out, say you eat out 3 times a week, start cutting back really slowly of just like, okay, well, next week I'm going to eat out 2 times a week, and then maybe stick to that a few times, and then say, okay, now I'm going to eat out just 1 time a week. So making those small changes over time. Pick a goal that you want to make a change 1 week, maybe keep that change for a little bit, and then adjust it later. So start small, be observant. That's how a habit change can take place, especially when it comes to healthy eating. Oh, let's see. How do we get to the next one? Okay, so how to build a healthy meal. Everyone probably knows what the 3 macronutrients are. We've all heard of carbs, proteins, and fats. There are also some other micronutrients that you probably know, like fiber, but today we're just going to stick to the main 3. When you build a meal, any meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, even a snack, you want to always make sure there's some sort of carb, protein, or fat in that meal. All 3 would be best in a meal, but if you want, you could just have like a carb and a protein, or a protein and a fat. And this kind of does just apply to the general public. So if you have a special diet like keto, or you're macro tracking, or you're doing low carb, high fat, whatever, I would stick. You could talk to me about that another time, but this is more for the general population, okay? So find a carb. I'm going to use spaghetti as an example today. So find a carb source. Noodles would be your carb source for spaghetti, okay? And then everyone needs to add a protein. So that could be, if you are vegan, you could add tofu. I like adding chicken to my spaghetti. So that would be my protein source. And then you can add a fat, which this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Some people like to add cheese, but I know dairy can upset a lot of people's stomachs. So be careful with dairy. But olive oil is your number 1 fat source when you cook. So if you use Pam spray or something like that, totally fine. That has like zero fat in it. But if you do use olive oil to say cook your chicken, that olive oil seeps into your chicken while you're cooking, and that can count as your fat source. If you add butter, that could also count as your fat source. It just depends on what you're adding to that meal. I will say, like, fat, people tend to forget that olive oil or that dressings have a lot of fat in it, and that's why we add it anyway, but that does tack on extra calories. So just be careful when you're adding fat to your meal. But overall, it's totally fine to eat fat. Just be careful of the excess oil and stuff that you put in your meal. So spaghetti is my number one go-to most days. So it's spaghetti, chicken, and I cook with olive oil. So next slide. If anyone has questions, again, please interrupt me. I am recording this, so people will hear what you ask, but please don't be afraid to interrupt.
Hey,
So
Maddie.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did have a quick question on slide 3. I kind of wanted your opinion, specifically on the carb sources. For fruits, one thing that I'm trying to do is being cognizant of taking in my carb sources. So not necessarily going to maybe one day saying, okay, I'll get Brussels sprouts instead of French fries, for instance. But specifically with fruits, I was curious on your opinion because I know there can be a lot of added sugars in fruits, and I do see the benefits of, say, eating blueberries or strawberries, but sometimes those added sugars just kind of scare me, especially if I'm trying to make like a protein shake or anything. So do you have, like, I guess, high valued fruits in your opinion that aren't necessarily loaded with a lot of natural sugars?
Yes. So I do just want to say my take on food is there's no good or bad food, right? So if you have a handful of candy versus a handful of fruit and they're the same amount of calories, of course the processed candy is going to process a little bit differently in your body, but it's technically the same caloric intake. So with fruit, I would say if you're not overdoing it, if you're not doing if the serving size is 1 cup of blueberries, but you're doing 3 cups, then yeah, that's a little excessive. But I wouldn't say that the fruit sugar is any worse for you than the sugar that's in a sweet potato. It's not any worse or any better. So I think I will say bananas, that's kind of you could have a banana in a protein shake, and that would be a meal because bananas are more calorically dense. But stuff like blueberries and strawberries, like the little fruits like berries, I don't really even, there's so little carbs in those, it's almost pointless to even track. Same with vegetables like broccoli and green beans, and those vegetables are kind of just like eating nothing. It's not a really great energy source. But fruit like bananas and apples, those are a little bit more dense. So those would be good energy sources if you just want to have one randomly, like with your lunch. But for berries and smaller fruits that are a little bit less calorically dense, those are completely fine to add to a smoothie or something.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, any more questions on that one? No? Okay. All right, so some meal examples. I put one of my favorite meals on here, which is just the classic oatmeal and eggs. I know oatmeal can be, I'm a big texture person, so sometimes when I'm eating oatmeal, I might gag on the last bite because I'm not a big fan of the texture, but oats are an amazing source of carbs, and you can add, if you do the plain rolled oats, they're kind of gross alone. So I usually do almond milk, and I'll add cinnamon and sugar or some berries to it to make it a little bit sweeter. Or you could do the Quaker oat packets. Those are great. Quaker's a great brand. In general, it's pretty clean. They don't add a ton of sugar. You will get a little bit of extra sugar added with those packets, but they taste better. So I like the Quaker packets. And then you're getting if you have eggs, I usually do 2 eggs in the morning. Some people do more, some people do less. I know cholesterol is a big thing for people, so just be careful. But your protein is the egg white, and the fat is the egg yolk. So the egg yolk is actually 99.8% fat, and the egg white is 99.8% protein. So if you do only egg whites, you're getting only protein. So that's my favorite classic meal. It has almost every macro you need. It's great for energy before a workout or before work. And then you have this one I don't do as often, but it is great for like a Starbucks alternative, is the bacon and egg sandwich. I know Starbucks does like a reduced fat turkey bacon or something. If you get an English muffin, I know the Thomas Muffin brand is great with turkey bacon and an egg. It's really simple. If you wanted to add cheese or a non-dairy cheese or something, I know they've got all kinds of things now for vegan. So you can add stuff to that and make it a little bit more fun. You could add spinach, you could do a few veggies, or anything you want with a fruit bowl on the side, just making a meal fun. And like, say that this is a Starbucks alternative, that sounds pretty good, and I've made this a ton of times at home. It's very easy. And then lunch, the classic protein bowl. If you just have a big carb, say quinoa, I use quinoa a lot, but you could have quinoa, spinach, chickpeas, rice, and then add a protein and add a fat on top, and you've got a meal, and it's very healthy for you. And stuff like that is very easy to prep. So I tend to prep my rice probably once a week, and I just have like a big Tupperware of my rice, so I can take a cup out or a half cup out for some meals, because since I'm here all day, I do pack my meals. But I know prepping can kind of be iffy for some people, so I just prep my rice. I don't like to prep individual containers, but prepping protein like chicken and prepping rice is really easy for meals like this. You can just throw together a bunch of stuff. Any questions? Anyone else got some meal ideas that they want to share? And then let's see, healthy meal reminder. I just want to say, keep it simple. So a lot of times people get stressed out when the opportunity comes to meal prep, or there's too many websites with so many different options for healthy meals, and it just gets a little overwhelming. So if you have basic ingredients in your pantry, you literally can type into Google, like I have quinoa, chicken, and like 3 other ingredients, and it'll tell you a meal to put together. So there's super simple things that you can do. The worst thing you can do is just make it complicated for yourself and try too hard. You just want to, keep it simple. Have the most basic foods. It doesn't need to be fancy. If you wanted to add certain seasoning and stuff to make it fun, that's good. But definitely keep it simple is my number one tip. Don't overthink or overstress it, because I feel like dieting can be stressful anyway, and I hate the word diet, but I just feel like the diet culture is pretty stressful. So okay, and I will be sharing this slide in the group chat so you guys can have these links ready to go, and you guys can just click on them, because I don't think you can click on them from here like but I do have breakfast. These Eating Well and Downshiftology are my favorite websites for healthy eating meals. And what I usually do is click on a website or one of these websites, scroll, and just like hold my finger down at random. And then I write down that on my grocery list, and I go pick it up at the grocery store and end up cooking that meal for the week. And it ends up making 3 to 5 meals for me. For if you have a family and you're cooking for more people, it might only make a few meals, but I definitely like just doing it random. Adding it to your grocery list can be easy too. So as long as you keep a grocery list, I know some people don't, but I just keep it on my phone. Oh, sorry. Oopsies, hold on. Oh no, that was right. Okay. And the LSD Health and Wellness, the company I work through, actually has a YouTube with some healthy recipes on it. So if you do want to go on that YouTube link, I will share it again in the group chat that everyone is in, that you guys can go to later. Now, let's see. This is my favorite slide. I'm a big snacker, and a lot of people probably are, and especially if you are at home right now, I bet it's so tough to work at home and you just want to go to your pantry and snack, especially when times get boring or something. Snacking is really easy. So these are my go-to strictly protein, strictly carb, and strictly fat snacks that I keep in my pantry. And again, snacks aren't the best thing for you to eat, but they're the most convenient, and they're very simple and easy just to grab and go. So protein, my favorite protein snack is tuna packets. Some people don't like tuna, but I like it. I mean, it's a great protein source. There is a little bit of extra sodium in it, but as long as you're drinking water, you should be fine, okay? Protein bars, I usually have 1 to one protein bar a day, maybe every other day. I try not to go over 2. That's a little excessive, but protein bars, the main thing that I suggest is please look out for the sugar and fat content. A lot of keto bars are out there these days, and a lot of people just pick up a protein bar that says protein on it, but really it's got like 15 grams of fat, and you aren't looking at that label. So definitely look at the label on the protein bars. If it's over 14 grams of carbs, that probably means it's a little high in sugar. So I usually keep it below 14 grams. Zone Perfect, and in this corner right here, is my favorite protein bar brand. It's very, very clean. The ingredients are clean. And I think it's called Think Thin, or they changed the name. Maybe it's just Think Bars. Those are a great brand, also very clean ingredients. And yogurt. Yogurt, again, is a dairy, so be careful if you are sensitive to that, but it's a great protein source. Carbs, popcorn, rice cakes, pretzels, and fruits are strictly carbs. And fruits, again, like we talked about earlier, do have a little bit more sugar in it, but the sugar in it processes so quick in your body that if you were to have it before a workout, fruits are great pre-workout. So I always suggest a banana before a workout, maybe like an hour before, so it has a little bit of time to digest. But popcorn, rice cakes, and pretzels are strictly carb. There's no fat usually in them. Popcorn, if you get the buttered version, it might have a little bit more fat, but other than that, it's strictly carbs, great for a pre and post-workout meal. Now, fats, almonds, those are your nuts and oils, cheeses again, and chocolate. Chocolate is a really heart-healthy snack, actually, if you don't go overboard. So my favorite brand is called Hu, or Human. It's HU on the packet, but I'm pretty sure it's called Human, and it can be pretty pricey, but sometimes Kroger does good deals, and I usually have like 1 square a night. It's really good for digestion too. So after you eat dinner, the whole point of having dinner and then dessert right after is that you're always craving something sweet, usually after you have something salty. So chocolate is like my number one nightcap little snack, and it helps with a sweet tooth too. And I think too, if you're craving something sweet, you might as well allow yourself to have it, so then you aren't craving it too long and then indulge or binge later. So chocolate's great. Let's see. And then other ways. So we're almost done. Other ways to strive for a healthy heart. Daily exercise, obviously. Exercise is you have to find what you like. Okay, so if you like jogging, jog. I'm not a big cardio person, but if you like weightlifting, do that. If you like going on walks, do that. And if you're struggling to find time or to do it during your day because you're just maybe a little lazy, or you're working too hard, like at the computer, I would always set a reminder to work out, get up right when that reminder goes off, and then set a timer for like 20 to 30 minutes and do exercise between that time frame. And of course, I teach, and so does Carla and Trey. We all have the virtual classes here online. If you're in this group chat, you probably are already in the calendar, so you guys can take some of the virtual classes. I do recognize a few of the faces here, so that's good. But they're free, so you might as well take them. And then my contact info. So this is all of my info. I am here at Innsbrook every day, and that's the class schedule, but I'm pretty sure everyone in here already knows that. So that's it. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to go over something again? Or you can, is that Carla? Oh, hey, Carla. There you go. Who came? Okay. If anyone has any questions, please let me know.
Hey, Maddie, another quick question on my end. I know you mentioned, I think it was eating eggs and watching your cholesterol on eating eggs. Could you comment on that a little bit more? More specifically, I was wondering if you are prone to high cholesterol, what are foods to avoid, or even foods to kind of help lower that cholesterol?
Yeah, so eggs are, I would say, the egg yolk specifically is high in cholesterol. So if you want, I know a lot of grocery stores even sell the egg white containers. When I eat eggs, I'm more eating them for the protein content. And I think most people should eat eggs. But since they are high in cholesterol, the egg yolk specifically, I do recommend just maybe using the egg, or like use one egg but have 2 egg whites on the side or something to make it a little bit more dense, because I feel like one egg isn't enough. But yeah, cholesterol, sodium, all of that can affect blood pressure. And I do suggest looking at the labels. Labels, not even on not the nutrition label, but the label on a container. There's always something that says low sodium or good for cholesterol, and snacks and foods in general like that is great. I know rice is a really good combator for cholesterol, and I know that sounds silly, but I learned it in one of my courses that if you're eating a carb with a little bit like an egg, it's good to have it with something else. It kind of helps combat it. And if you're drinking water and everything like that and exercising regularly, you should be totally fine, as long as you aren't overdoing it on the cholesterol. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Uh-huh. No problem. Okay, well, that's all I have. I'm gonna stop recording. Let's see. How do I do this? Stop presenting. There you go. But thank you guys so much for coming. Since I did record this, it will go in that group chat, and I will have the links that were in that slide. I will post that in the group for you guys also, because I promise you those links that I sent, if you just scroll, click on one and choose that for your meal for the week, that's what I would choose. Okay? So, all right. Stop recording.